All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. I think about my journey into priesthood, my journey into providing education, training, activities that are geared toward restoring the African mind. And I have to recall why my work is different from everyone else's work. Not just the features and the attributes that make my work distinct, but what's the underpinnings of my work? What has driven me to this point? I came of age at Howard University in the 80s, which was the height of what we now call the conscious movement. If you were in DC in the 80s or anywhere in the Northeast in the 80s, you know what I'm talking about. This was where it all went down, right? And during that time, you could say Afrocentrism and consciousness were like the two shoulders holding up the head of progressive black thought. You had Afrocentrism. If you were Afrocentric, you were conscious. If you were conscious, you were Afrocentric. The two were inseparable from one another. And the head, which leads the body, the head of it all at that point was Egypt. So if you could make any bold claim about anything, you had to tie it to Egypt. And if you could tie it to Egypt and smack an unk on it, then, hey, that train was riding and everybody was getting on board. Okay? And, you know, over time, some people, myself definitely, I don't know how, I can't speak to other people's progression, but in my own case, I can see the limitations of that. Egypt is not the source of everything. Egypt was our opportunity to take ownership of and get leverage on the whole, Mediterranean, Semitic, Western monopoly on everything, right? And so we finally felt like we had a way in. That's what it ended up boiling down to. We had a way in to say that we could take ownership of these great accomplishments and in a lot of ways end up appropriating things that weren't really ours. Okay. The Bible, for example, all that, everything that has to do with the Mediterranean, right? Those things have nothing to do with us. We struggle with it. Oh man, people right now are just chomping at the bit. They're getting all tight. Every time I say it, they get all tight, but that's irrelevant. The Bible and the Semitic thing and all that has nothing to do with us. That's not our people. That's not our history. That's not our lineage. And the sooner you get to that, the happier you're going to be, right? That's somebody else's story. And here's how I really came to that conclusion, right? This is the real basis of it, because I'm an African, and Africans do. African people are in the here and now. African people, indigenous African thought is about water, air, tree, bird. It's about life, real life. Ancestors are not hypothetical. I got them, you got them. Only reason I'm here is because of them. It's very practical. It's very real. Okay, but I didn't come to that immediately. Let me tell you what happened for me. There was one teacher who stood out among all the rest. There was Dr. Ben, and there was John Henry Clark, and there was Ashra Kwesi, and there was, all these great guys. Later on, there was Tony Browder, who came onto the scene. These are phenomenal teachers. They gave us great information, great teachings. But there was one among them who was from a different side of the equation, and that was Steve Cokley. Steve Cokley was in the world of politics, and then he became conscious. And Steve Cokley, he affirmed all the things that we were saying in the Afrocentric movement. He affirmed it. And he tied everything from the United Nations to the Masons to the Divine Nine, which are the Greek letter organizations, and the Boule. And Steve Cokley brought it all into focus and connected all the dots for us. But he didn't stop there. He said all those institutions and organizations that started to overrun Africa in antiquity, they didn't die, they didn't disappear. They're functioning right now. They're active today. And as a matter of fact, where are we at right now? We're in Altadena, California. Here's the head of this organization in Altadena. Bam! And they throw the guy's name up on the board. And you could feel everyone's throat tighten. You can feel everybody, excuse my language, everybody's nuts went up into their stomach. Because now we're not talking about Alexander the Great. We're not talking about Ramses the whatever. We're talking about this guy who has an office up there on Fair Oaks. You know him. You know his family. You know exactly who you're talking about and what resources he has to bring to bear on you in a moment's notice. Now you stop in to pause and think about what's being said and what you're going to do next. What I learned, and Steve Cokley would articulate this, because he just didn't do it in my town. He went all over the country. So he knew what he was doing. And he would say in his lecture, I remember him saying more than once, I'm giving you all the information live and direct, irrefutably. I got pictures, I got names, I got lists. And it is compelling, and you know it's true, but it's not compelling enough, excuse me, for you to change your behavior. That rang a bell for me because I'm an educator. I'm a human services professional. The nature of my work is all about change. It doesn't work if the people don't change. Well, nothing that I'm teaching it matters if the people don't change. I can't say that you have learned what I've taught if you don't change. So it's not my duty to change you. It's my duty to put the mechanisms in place and teach you the skills that are necessary for you to change yourself. And this is why I love Orisha. This is why I teach Orisha. This is why my mission is to restore the African mind. Because if we're able to equip you with doing things the way we used to do them, then things will turn out the way that they used to turn out, as the elders say. But in order for you to think the way that we used to think and to do things the way we used to do them, you need to reckon with time according to our way of reckoning time. You need to know and at least be able to point back to the fact to say that, oh, I know what day it is. I know what day is next. And based on what day it is, I know what I'm going to do. And based on what is happening tomorrow, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to eat. I know how I'm going to pray. I know what offerings I'm going to make. I know how I'm going to redirect my mind. I know where I am in space and time. And it has nothing to do with them. So I can observe what they're doing dispassionately because I know it has nothing to do with me. I don't need to graft myself onto the Hebrews. I don't need to graft myself onto what the Christians say. I don't need to refute and defy and undo and all of that kind of stuff and debunk all of their myths because I know they don't pertain to me. That's not my language. That's not my source. It's not my pattern. They're not trying to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. Something that they have is valuable. I can take it and I can use it to factor into what I'm doing. That is the restoration of the African mind. You stand on your own. You follow your own pattern. You adhere to your own rules. You seek to fulfill your own vision that has been passed down to you from time immemorial. This is why my teachings hinge upon the importance, the indispensability of Ori. Your Ori is your true essence. That's your true nature. If you can't master yourself, you can't master anything. But once you mastered yourself, you have mastered everything. You know yourself and you know the world. If you don't know yourself, everything else is just going to confuse you. Everything else is just adding complexity onto something that you're not ready to withstand. So this is the distinction between what I do and what they do. Because there are a lot of people who still want to happy talk you. They still want to convince you that you're the Queen of Sheba. They still are trying to backfill your empty sense of self with a bunch of colorful things and witty phrases. It's an insult to your intelligence. It's a disrespect to your ancestors. Don't allow people to just lead you astray with color and razzle dazzle and colorful words and empty promises. Do it. If they say that this is what you are and who you are, then they should be able to show you how to do it. You should be able to conceptualize and materialize. If that's what you are, you're the pyramid builder, make a pyramid. You're the creator of civilization, then make a civilization. If you're going to make a bold claim, don't just tie it to some far off place. Put it into motion today and carry it out tomorrow and the day after and the day after, and show that it is real in your own life. That's what mastery of your Ori is all about. If it's not that, then it's a waste of time. It's a game. It's a triviality. We don't have time for that. Our ancestors didn't live and die for that. So this is a message that I'm delivering to the leaders, the real change makers, the ones who really understand that the only revolution is a personal revolution. The thing that's most personal to you and the most difficult challenge that you face in revamping your life and rekindling the flame of your original life, your original impulse, your first mind. That's what matters most. That's the only thing that matters. If you're one of those people, then I want you to find out how Oloye, Obafemi Origunwa, and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice, and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. And let's start working to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.